Yeah, Asha, when I look back on the program that we did 1 year ago, I remember that program brought tears to my eye. And today, after looking at all the things that you've been doing, the progress that you've been making, this foundation that you set up, but still that story is just so, it's like it's so fresh and so new because it seems like nothing has changed. Actually, let's step back a little bit. Let's go back to update everyone about your story. Where did it all started for you? What was your what's your story? What's the core of your story?
Well, good afternoon, every one of you viewers from around the world. I see Junior has a large audience today looking on to him as usual. My name is Asha Samaru, and my story started when I was just a 6-year-old child. I was a child, a victim of sexual molestation by my mother too. And I continue telling my mother while growing up, my grandparents, I continue telling family members, and every time they would tell me that I'm lying, they would tell me that don't talk about it, people's gonna laugh, things like that.
Yeah.
And I grew up with that inside of me, and every time I would always tell my mom about it. And last year, because of I confronted my mother and one of her brothers together at my home in Houston, Texas,
Yeah.
to speak to them about it like a family, like a normal family. It didn't turn out nice. And that's when I took to social media and told the world of what they did to me.
Okay. Actually, just do me a quick favor. I'm hearing a little bit of an echo in the background with your other phone. Like I'm hearing you back on the rebroadcast. Just turn your volume down for me on that other phone.
Yeah.
All right, great. So the it all set up where your blood uncles, was sexually molesting you at that very tender age. What was that? What age was that, and what was the period of your life that happened?
I was 6 years old, Junior, at the time. I grew up with my grandparents, back and forth from my mom. She was a single mother. And then with her, I was with my grandparents. And from that time, age 6 to I don't know how long I could remember, because part of my life as a child growing up, I don't know for whatever reason, I don't remember certain things. But I do remember being a 6-year-old little girl, and I remember that back bedroom that they used to take me into, and they would perform oral sex on me and take their fingers and put it up in me. I remember that. I will never, ever forget that.
When you say they, Asha, clarify who is they.
I meant my mother, two brothers. She had two brothers that were older than me, and they lived with my grandparents, and that's what they used to do to me. When no one was around, they would take me, but not at the same time together, on different occasions, both of them.
And did you ever get a chance to confront your mother or talk to your mother and say, "Mom, this is what's happening. They keep sexually molesting
Junior,
me. They keep
I have
fondling me."
told my mother of this all my life growing up, and she would always shut me down. We would always have fights and arguments. We don't speak to each other up to this day. I tried to build a relationship with her. I would always tell her. My sister would always hear me telling her. And I did confronted one of the brothers the day I launched my foundation in Trinidad and Tobago last year, October. One of the brothers passed away. But I confronted him in 2012, 2013, when one of his sisters died. All the family I confronted. And when I confronted them and told them what they were doing to me, the brothers were doing to me, one of my mother's sister, the last sister,
Yeah.
she came forward and she said, "Oh my God, I thought it was me alone. I didn't know they were doing it to you also." And today, Junior, that
Uh-huh.
same aunt denies it, and will never stand with me also. They hate the fact that I took to social media and told the world what they did to me. There's one surviving brother. He lives in New York, and he continues since I made that video to harass me, to try to ridicule me. He posts everything bad in my life that he can get to post it on Facebook with a constant harassment. He started posting my big son's picture, posted that my son raped his sister, just so that he can ridicule me. The things I put up with and faced with, Junior, from this individual, it's overwhelming and it's too much for one person to bear. I appear to be a very strong woman to a lot of women because I have thus created a foundation for abused women to get them a voice, a platform. And I have my moments in my mind when it's too much for me sometimes what he does.
You know, the every time I hear that story, Asha, it's just like I hear it for the first time, because it is so inhumane to look at a child at that tender age and even think about somebody would think about doing something sexual to that child. When you see a child, you're thinking about hugging them, hi, or to have a mindset that you want to approach that child sexually or fondle them sexually, it's a mental state. It's a crazy mental state that person have to put themselves into. What was the mental state of your uncles? Were they sick people? Were they crazy individual? Who
No,
really?
well, I would say they're sick in their minds. I wouldn't say they're crazy. I don't know. I mean, I was a child at the time, and I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know how many other people they did this to. In fact, that surviving uncle, in fact, his one of his daughters, um, husband recently last month sexually molested one of his other grandchild, and he told them that's a family issue, handle it and deal with it. So it's like a plague in this family.
Yeah. Let me bring
Like a
everyone.
plague.
Let me bring everyone back up to speed where we are, guys. You're watching right along. We're talking to Asha. Now, mind you, this is not Asha's first time on the program. This happens to be her second or third time on the program, sharing her story with us. Today is a different thing because what you would hear later on, I'm just recapping what we already heard, right? But what you would hear later would absolutely shock the shit out of you. No other way to put it. I can't put it no other way. The stuff that Asha is going through now is gonna scare the living daylight out of you. Nobody needs to go through it. All right? So I want you guys to brace yourself for this one. And in fact, I want everybody to do this for me right now. Everybody that's watching, you're watching right along right now, I want you to press love because it's not easy for Asha or anybody for that matter to come on this program and pour their heart out, right? So I want Asha to get all the love and support that is possible that we could all generate collectively so she could share this story here profoundly. The last time I had Asha on the program, believe me, I was sitting here, I had to cut the program short because it was just too much. It was just too much. And to see that nothing has changed about it, to see that her uncles, well, I'll keep it there for now. But I want everybody to do this for me, please. Press that love button right now and let's give Asha all the support and love. Let Asha feel the love coming from everybody that's watching this program here today because it's not easy. It's not easy. Asha, I have someone ask. Tasha is asking, how old are you right now?
I'm 44.
How much?
44.
Okay, right. So during that time, you live with this inside of you for a very long time, right? How did you
Yes.
feel to have to go through all this? You went through your teenage years, you went through your early 20s and the time of your life, your prime time of your life. You went through your 30s and all that other stuff. How did that play on your mental state? Did it make you? Did it do anything? Were you able to trust people? Were you able to love? How did it affect you?
Well, Junior, growing up, after I grew up, I didn't have much choices. Choices were given to me. As I told you a year ago, after I grew up, they stopped me from school. I never finished school. My mother stopped me from school when I told her of my abuse, and they tell me I'm lying. I couldn't talk to anybody. I didn't have friends. Nobody I had to talk to after they got me married off at the age 18 to my first husband. So I
Who
was
who they
pushed
who
into
who married
choices.
who married you off? Your mother
My
again?
grandmother. My grandmother married me off because I had run away from home,
Uh-huh.
from my mother's home, because I also had an issue with my stepfather, which
Right.
I never slandered him because he apologized to me.
Right.
And my grandmother, I ran back. So every time I would leave, like I'm leaving the pot and jumping back into the fire, because here I was as a child being abused at my mom's house. And then when I go to my grandmother, the only rescue place I had was where my mother brothers were, and I was being abused there also.
Wow. Now, let's talk about the psychological effect that something like that have on a person. How did you deal with it psychologically? Were you able to talk to someone that could kind of calm you or talk to you and advise you? How did you deal with it?
No, Junior, I never spoke to anyone during those years. Actually, is when I met my second husband. After my first divorce, I met my second husband. It's then I started getting counseling for it, because all these years I suppressed it. All these years I put up that front of trying to be strong, of trying to say it didn't happen. I focused on other things that would make me forget it, but it would never, never leave my mind, because every time I see my mom, I would remember what they did to me.
Yes. Fiona Felina is asking, why didn't you go to the police?
I was a child. I was 6 years old. I had nobody to go to. Who would believe a child? That was what is in my mind. Who would believe a child? Who would I tell beside my family members?
Yeah. So your
The
family.
abuse stopped. The abuse stopped when I was probably about 9, 10 years old, because my mother took me back with her,
Uh-huh.
and then I had to face my stepfather there. And then I ran away from my mother's house when I was 16 and went back to my grandmother's house. By then, I was grown up. My uncles, one was still living there, and my uncle had migrated.
When you say you have to
So,
face your grandfather, what does that mean?
pardon me?
You said that you moved back and you had to face your grandfather. Did
No,
you?
I moved back to my grandparents' house,
Right.
and my grandfather and my grandmother was alive.
Right.
My One of my mother brothers used to live there. The other one that lives in New York now had migrated or moved out with his wife or whatever at that time. So I was older then.
Right.
So I kept it silent and didn't say anything. But it kept at me. It kept pine away at me. And the only person I would talk to is my mother.
Yes.
My mother. Every time I tried to build a relationship, sitting with her, I would go look for her. I would invite her at my home, and I would tell her, grandmother. I call her grandmother. I don't call her ma or mama. I say, grandmother, why? Why you wouldn't believe me?
Yeah.
And she keeps saying to me, that's my brothers. I'm not going to believe anybody over my brothers. And stop lying and stop bringing up these kind of things.
But why would she not? Why would she not believe that? Why would you make up
Julia,
something like
I'm
that?
asking myself the same question. I am 44 and I'm still asking that same question. I may die and never get that answer.
Actually, someone else wanted to know that. But as you got older, at what point did it stop?
It stopped when I was about 9 years old. It stopped. The abuse, the sexual touching and stuff stopped when I was about 9 years old. And that's when my mother took me back from my grandparents to live with her.
Right.
So it stopped, and I stayed with my mom until I was about 16, and then I ran away from my mom's because of the incident there and back to my grandparents. By then I was grown up. So they couldn't touch me anymore.
Right.
But I would feel uncomfortable around them. But I tried to still to be close to them. I don't know, Junior, in my mind what I was looking for, trying to be close to them. Maybe it was closure. Maybe it was I wanted to be loved or fit in. I don't know. To be honest with you, I, as a victim, does not have that answer as to why I try all these years to build a relationship with them.
And let's revisit the first time that you sat or stood or were able to be close to your uncle at that point in time. What was that first meeting, looking him in his eye and an opportunity to talk to him? How did you feel at that point?
Well, when I first confronted the first uncle, as I said, he was alive then and he was living in Trinidad. 2012, 2013, I confronted him around the family. The other uncle that lives in New York, he was not able to come to Trinidad because he was there in New York illegally hiding. And he never visited Trinidad for years. I never had no form of contact with that one of the brother. And when I confronted the first uncle together with family members, Junior, I was shaking like a leaf.
I would imagine.
And I told them all, I will never forget. I told them all that the day for the wake, when my mother's sister died, we had that, that Hindu prayers they have when someone died. And I told them all that. And I will never forget. Nobody said anything except my mother's last sister said, I thought it was me alone. I did not know it was you too. I will never forget her words. I will never, never forget her words.
So,
And
go ahead.
after that, Junior, after that, then I started building a relationship with my uncle in New York. I wanted to reach him. I wanted to build a relationship with him. I wanted to see if I could have been close to him, to at least confide in him what happened, what he did to me.
Yes.
And I started building that relationship with him. I never dreamed that I would have migrated to the US. So when I migrated to the US in 2015, my dreams came true of where I could have sat with him face to face and speak about this. So 2015, when I moved to the US, I invited him and my mother. I bought a ticket for my mother to my home here in Texas. And I took them out for dinner. I hugged them. I take pictures.
The
I
same,
wanted to see.
Asha, the same uncle?
Yes. I did it because I wanted to sit like a family with them to see if I can speak with them to put a closure to this. To put a closure to this, what has been bothering me and still haunting me. As much counseling I take, Junior, which I do take a lot of counseling here in the US, it is not leaving me. Because he is making it harder for me to move on when he constantly harasses me and my children on Facebook. I tried a nice approach. A lot of people ask me, why didn't you sit like a family? Why didn't you keep it between the family? I did all that. I did all that. And it never worked. He left my home. When I invited him and I confronted him and my mother, he went back to New York. He started calling me names on Facebook. My mother went back to Trinidad and said I treated her bad and I gave her bread to eat and I put her out in the cold. Junior, I allowed them and I left them alone, let them ridicule me on Facebook, and I still didn't tell the world what they did to me. I still didn't tell the world what they did to me. And that's when I decided in July of last year, July 28th, the 28th of July, I made that video. And I said, enough is enough. And I told the world, I did not care. I did not think that I would get such backlash from the people of Trinidad and Tobago on social media. A lot of people slandered me for it. But I have grown thus. And now I'm facing something even worse That breaks me again. That breaks me because my children, they are targeting my children now. I'm sorry, guys.
No, Asha,
A lot of my
listen.
viewers are on your page and they never saw me cry. This is too much. This is too much. It's too much, Junior. It makes me feel that I should have never spoken out. But then I'm not going to let them shut me up, because think about everybody else who, if they went through something similar and they're afraid, they're scared, they're ashamed to speak out, because what they're doing to me now is a perfect example of what's going to happen to anybody who speak out.
Yeah.
So everybody says, speak out. Let's stand up against abuse. Let's stand up against rape. And when you do it, they stone you to death for it.
Guys, we're chatting here with Asha. Now, Asha, listen, it's everybody that is watching right now, feel your pain. There's not a human being that could hear your story and don't feel that heart-wrenching pain. You went through this at the age of 6 and it's affecting you right now as it just happened. What people don't understand is when you take away a child, when you do that to a child or anybody for that matter, you take away that sense of security, you take away all of that from them. You basically take away the main and most important thing in their life. It's very unstable and it's very difficult for anybody to recapture. You lost your childhood. I completely understand your pain, and your tears says it all. This happened over 30 plus years ago, but it seems like it just happened yesterday. You will never forget it, and it took away that innocence from you. And it has to be somebody, a heartless person, to even do that to a child. And the worst part about it, Asha, the worst part about it when I listen to your story is that he never stops. The last live that we did, he was on there. Tell us about the person and what they continue to do, all even up to today, whenever you go and speak about this despicable, nasty act that was done.
Well, Junior, as for the viewers, I then formed a foundation, as I said earlier, for abused women. So I do a little blogs and I try to give women a little inspiration. And then he would put people, everybody that he could find or fake profiles to come when I'm doing a live to talk to women and call me dirty names, call me cunt, call me all sorts of nasty things. And I in turn will react and curse them back because I'm trying to defend myself. And then, Junior, recently, just 3 days ago, they put a hit on my son. They wire transferred money to put a hit to kill my son because they cannot get at me. So they want to hurt the things that I love. And this is not a just say. This is not a just say. We have all the evidence of audios, messages, everything. We have all the evidence. This is not a just say, hearsay, they say.
Let me try to understand what you're really saying here. So, everybody trying to get at you because you came out and tell your story.
Well, him, not everybody.
Him in particular. Him in particular. And he can't get at you, so he's trying to kill your son?
Well, Junior, I didn't call his name. I did not reveal who the persons were.
Right.
But he's part of it. He's part of it. Because his name, the person who gave us the information for the cops, his name was called and said that he, my mother, brother, wants to kill my son, and they said they're not going to harm my daughter. It's my son they're going to kill. They they posted my son's car, the type of car he drives, the color of his car, where he goes to school in Trinidad and Tobago, where he lives, everything they did, Junior, you can think about. Junior, I shared that audio of the evidence to you, and you listen to that audio. Tell me if any mother hears that, any parent, what do you think their reaction would be?
Indeed, I did get a chance to listen to the audio, the conversation. And like if you are looking at a Netflix movie and you're hearing something like what they would do in those hitman movies and stuff, I'm talking to the audience. This is kind of like what I heard on that audio tape. I'll let the necessary authorities deal with whatever they have to deal with. But if this whole thing is not just allegations or somebody trying to blow hot air up somebody's ass, this is a felony. This is a crime already at that point in time. I'm not going to reveal more because I'm sure that authorities and people are looking into this from all aspects, and they will make whatever they have to do. But Asha, this is the worst thing that a parent could hear. This is the worst thing a parent could hear. How, on a daily basis, how do you deal with things after hearing all of that stuff? Who do you reach out to? Who keeps you strong? What do you like? Tell us about your day. What do you do?
Junior, my day wakes up with God and my Bible right at my side. I belong to a Hindu background, but I went to a Presbyterian school, so I learned to pray. The Our Father who art in heaven, I learned English, I learned to read the Bible. And my husband, that man, I don't think God will ever bless me with someone as him. He stands with me, he supports me on a daily basis. That man has to see me cry. On a daily basis, he has to look on Facebook and see the same dirty things posted about his wife. On a daily basis, he has to put up with all of this, and he focuses. He loves me. He respects me. And he takes good care of me, and he understands. And Junior, without God, I would never make it this far. I would never. Every day I ask God, why? Why? Because I told the truth. Why? Because I came out and I shamed them. Why? Why would they do this now? Why would they stoop so low to try to kill my child? I'm tired, Junior. I can't fight this fight anymore. I'm tired. I can't fight this fight anymore. I fight this fight alone, and then I fight for women. I fight for women all around the world. And I stand alone when I'm fighting for myself. And now I'm fighting for my family. And it's like it's never ended. It's like I have no justice or nowhere, no side with this torment. It's like torment, Junior. It's torment. I'm done, Junior. I'm done. I don't know what to do anymore with these people. I don't know. He's so wicked and vile and disgusting. And Junior, I always say to a lot of people, criminals are not born, People push you over the edge to do things. And if Asha gets up one day and decides to get rid of them, then I would be the wrong one. but nobody saw what they are doing to me. And they continue to do to me. He continues to violate me on Facebook. He continues to harass me. Now, you're plotting to kill my child? He's plotting to kill my son? Together with another person?
How,
Don't mistake my tears for weakness. Nobody don't mistake my tears for weakness. My tears is not weakness. My tears is hurt. And I'm not going to give up, Junior. I'm not going to give up. I know you a year now and you know Asha. I will always bounce back. I will always fight back. I'm not going to give up. I'm not.
the tears that you cry, it's not going in vain, Asha, because I think that more than just sharing your story, you are empowering people to be strong. You are empowering people, the viewers that are watching, to not tolerate certain things. And so your tears, your strength is not going in vain. I just want you to know that people are hearing your cry. And more so than anything else, what's happening is you have built a foundation and dealing with it. So you are channeling a negative energy into something positive. Your foundation, I've been following your foundation, and I've seen that your foundation has implemented different mechanisms to strengthen families and women in particular. And that has to be something that you have to be most proud of, right? But how do you get past this stumble, this part of your life? How do you, did you ever speak to anyone, a psychologist at this point, to say, okay, well, Asha?
Yes, I am in counseling here for about, after the incident when I invited them to my home and they left and all this happened, 2016, I started seeing a counselor here, and I still do. And she said to me, hey, Asha, it's okay to hate people. It's okay. It's okay. It's normal for you to hate people for what they did to you. You can't love everybody. You can't be forgiven to everybody. It's be you. She also told me that focus on my foundation, focus on the other woman and them, and channel the other woman there who needs you. That will help you bring some strength. And Junior, I do that. All these women who support me, all these women who I support, we gain strength from each other. But then there would be the devil on the side waiting. He will be waiting there to find something to poke at me again. That man will never, never leave me. Never. He does not even have shame to say, come off of Facebook and hide his face. He doesn't even have that. And he comments on that stuff and people doesn't even know it's him that is commenting, because I don't call his name anymore.
Mm-hmm.
People doesn't know he's the same individual that's talking about me. Mm-hmm. And he talks to himself in a third party. He says, oh, look at her, she's a lying, nasty this and that. She lying on the man, she lying and saying the man raped her, and she wasn't raped, she was molested. These are his comments.
So he's twisting comments in his own favor in the third person.
Yeah, that's what he does, and people doesn't know because I stopped calling his name. Because I said, I don't want to give him that attention anymore. I leave him alone. When I first made my video, I called his name. So when people see him posting stuff on Facebook, people think that, oh, look, this man saying something, but they don't know it's the same man that violated me as a child. They don't know because I don't talk about him anymore.
Right.
I just say my mother, brother. I don't call his name anymore.
What is it that he wants from you, Asha? Is it that he's ashamed that you put him out there? What does he want?
He's not
ultimately?
ashamed. He's mad. He's mad that I put him out there. He's mad that I put him out there. Are you there, Junior? Are you
Yeah,
hearing
I'm
me?
here. I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you fine. So
Yeah, he's not ashamed. He's mad that I did it. He wants to say that I'm lying. He's going all out to do anything to say I'm lying. Junior, all my life, all my life I grew up with this in my mind. All my life I told my mother. There are one or two people I told while growing up. One of them is my neighbor where I lived in Trinidad, and maybe two other people, and then my psychologist, because I have documents showing I spoke of these abuse. So he wants to prove that I'm lying on him. Why would I have a good life now and have everything in my life and come to put my face out there for people to ridicule me, to lie on you? He has nothing. It's not as if though I'm lying on him to get money or get anything. He has nothing. I can't even sue him for defamation of character because he does not even have money. So that would be like wasting my money.
yeah.
And he knows that. So he continues to harass me.
If you had to, or when you get an opportunity, Asha, to speak to women that are going through the similar experience that you're going through, what do you tell them?
Junior, I speak to thousands of women on a daily basis who go through things like me, who had gone through it in their life. So a lot of them, 95% of them, does not want their name to be revealed, and the 5% who wishes to come forward, I put a red flag to them. Although my motto is speak out, I warn these women up front. What are you going to face? I show them what they're going to face, the backlash from family members, John Public, the perpetrators are going to use everything in your life to drag you down. And I show them that, and they changed their mind and said, okay, I don't want my face be out there, Asha. It's not that I'm frightening them, but I'm preparing them to know what you're going to face if you come out with your face like me and speak out. It's easy for us to say, stand up and speak out.
Yeah. And
It's easy.
the funny thing about it is, I did my own personal survey with people that I grew up with within my age group, and I was shocked to come to the conclusion that almost 40 or 45, touching 50% of the women that I've asked about it have been sexually molested in one way or another, right? And it's frightening because, growing up, it's like you never really, you hear things happening. It's like nobody was talking about it. It was just like everybody was just living their life all nice and doing whatever they're doing. No one talk about it and all of that stuff. But it was happening. Now in 2018, with the advent of stuff like Facebook Live, right along, and other programs that give voices to people that wants to come out and speak and tell the truth, you've seen a whole slew of people now coming and telling their story. Do you think that it's a better opportunity now to come out? And two-part question, and how would you empower people to forget about what people might say about you, still come out, still share your story?
Well, Junior, I do try to convince women or to talk women into coming out to show people that this is happening. But I have thus so far only two people that really showed their face and spoke about their abuse. One of the young girls who did so with me faced a very bad backlash, but then her family gave up on harassing her. So I guess things have settled with her. But I think a lot of people seeing what's going on with me and now getting to know what's going on with me, what I have been going through and still going through because of speaking out, because all the dirty things they see post about me, all the allegations, or everything that he posts about me, people want to know, but why? Why is this person saying about this woman? Junior, I will always tell women to speak up and speak out. But if they are not strong enough, because to handle that backlash of discrimination from John Public and the perpetrators, it will lead you to committing suicide, even though it happened years ago, because the harassment, that torment, it plays with your mind.
Yes.
And if you cannot handle that, it will lead you to killing yourself.
But it is good for someone to confide in someone about these things, because not speaking about it itself is also very detrimental and to a person. I see it like this. You walking down the street and someone walked up to you and punched you in your eye, blood up your whole eye. Your responsibility, you didn't do anything to them. You didn't ask them to punch you in your eye. They just walked up to you and punched you in your eye. Anybody would first want to report that someone abused them in that way, punch you in your eye for no reason. You didn't ask for it. It's just the same way as sexually molesting someone. You abuse someone, they never asked for it. You did something to someone that you use your power over them. Then you should talk about it. You should report it. The person should pay for it, whatever it is. So it's people like you, Asha, and your foundation that empower women. So more women should talk about stuff like that whenever there is occurrences like you are facing, you know?
They're getting there. The ladies are getting there. I just have to be stronger for them and show them that, and they will get there, Junior. They will. I know these ladies will get there who share their stories with me. And a lot of them have been coming out like on comment sections and say, hey, I was raped. Hey, this happened to me. They share their stories with me via Messenger, and then I share it on the page without their face or their names. And they feel a sense of relief that someone knows.
Yeah.
And it's amazing feeling for me also. It's an amazing feeling, and every time I achieve that with women or myself, I am drawn back to that fighting battle of my own demons.
Yes.
I am pulled back and being distracted by what I really set out to do, because even though I spoke of it, and even though I blasted him on Facebook, and even though I tried to shame him because I was never able to get justice by the law because of the statute of limitation ran out, and then he lives in a different state in the US and I live in a different state, so each state has its own laws for the harassment, so he knows he can get away with it to an extent. So that's why he keep tormenting me like that.
Yes.
I have thus moved on from him. I have never responded to him and some of his negative comments and all the things. At first, I used to do so, and I have stopped doing that. And when he finds he's not getting my attention now, he started with my son. He started with my daughter. Junior, you would not like to see this. My phone is filled with snapshots of things this man posted, comments he made. And then Facebook removed them or he removed them. I have an entire file, fat like that, we took to the FBI and the local police enforcement agencies here in the United States. And because it's harassment on Facebook, it's not a federal crime. They can only charge him with a Class A misdemeanor for harassment. And because he's living in another state, it's technical also.
Yes.
So it's like it's never ending. And then 2 days ago, evidence came into my possession that they are plotting to kill my son to get at me. And that really, really tripped me. That really set me back 32 years ago.
Asha, I'm watching the chat room as you speak, and rest assured that the people that are watching are in full support on what you're doing. You are really being a voice for women that went through the things that you went through. People are saying, "Be strong. You're a strong woman."
Thank you,
We
guys.
have people that are just they are really feeling your story. They're connecting with you, and they understand. I saw somebody say earlier, they was never molested as a child, but they feel that pain. They understand, and I think then that is empowering. That is empowering. So I always say, when life show you a lemon, you take it and you make lemonade. And you made some really nice lemonade with all this
Thank you, Junior.
bad, hard, dirty lemon that you was tossed. You did the
I was
foundation,
able
and
to
I'm
do
proud.
so with all the love of supportive people on social media. We have the bunch of haters, we have the bunch of judges and jurors and executioners, but I did this because of the support I got from a lot of women who also encouraged me to form this foundation when they first heard my story. And I think that the same way they look upon me to give them that strength, the same way I look upon them to give me that strength also.
Yes, yes. And I can't thank you enough, Asha. Um, Christelle Victor is saying, I'm lost for words. People are really connecting with you. Asha, I want you to give out the foundation name so women could contact you. And I also must say, before you give her that information, it's not only women, there is a lot
No,
of young boys that are also being sexually molested as well. So it just
yes,
is not only women that goes through this. So if you are a parent, we want to say this very, very clear so you understand that you need to listen to your children. It's important that you listen to your children. If your child is uncomfortable around a particular individual, a particular person, try to find out why is your child uncomfortable around that particular individual. Probably the child may not be able to verbally explain to you why, but you have to look at your children and know their actions and know their inactions and know their behaviors and their moods, so you know if they act in a certain way it's because of a particular reason. Don't deny your children. Don't deny your children. If your child or your kids come to you with something like this, listen to them. Investigate it yourself. Act upon it. Don't just say, well, he's lying or whatever. Because your child may never come to you again when something really is happening to you. I don't understand how parents could not listen to their children, especially when they come to them with something as personal and private and intimate as somebody touching them, right? Also, parents, it's important that you talk to your kids and make sure that if anybody touch them inappropriately, they have to come to you. They have to feel comfortable enough to come to the parents and say, listen, XYZ touched me inappropriately. He touched me like this and he touched me like that. And it's not supposed to happen. And parents, you have to act. You have to act. Inaction is just as well as you are breaking the law yourself. You should also be arrested for felony charges or misdemeanor charges if you fail to act when your children come to you with something as devastating like that to their life. You cannot, there is no way that you could fix that. Asha is going to be 60 years old and still coming and ride along and crying. Because ride along would last for a long time. You know,
yes.
the fact of the matter is that is something that was taken away from Asha. That is something that you could never give back to Asha. That is something you take away a part of her life that would always and forever be with her forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Amen. All right? And for the people who are in doing this stuff, for the people who can't take their hands away from the children, the young boys, the young girls, what the hell is wrong with you? But I think it goes further than that. I think it goes further than you just trying to push up yourself on children. I think you have a psychological problem. I think you have a psychological problem. And no amount of jail, no amount of beating, no amount of time in prison in solitary confinement could change your ways. You need psychological evaluation because something in your brain is not clicking properly, right? If somebody hold you and beat you up, you go still see somebody child tomorrow and go and run up on them. You need